وأذن في الناس بالحج يأتوك رجالا.
الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. So before we look at the different Hajj packages and the details that show there, we want to look at the distances and the location that we'll be referring to. So one of the most important things is your Mina location, because Mina is the area where you be spending the most of your time in. And on the days of Tashriq, you'll be going to Jamrat daily. And if you're doing your Tawaf al-Ifada separately from your Wada', you'll be going to the Haram most likely by yourself in a bus or by walking. So that's the most important thing you'll see. And the package, the referred distances to the Jamarat, which you'll need to keep in mind of, because that's very important, because you'll be walking there 2 days or possibly 3 days, depending on the type of Hajj you're performing. And the next benefit here in Mina is Masjid Khayf, where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to go to during the days of Tashriq in Mina. He would go to that masjid and pray there, but it's not mandatory for you to go there. The next important location is, you see, Muzdalifah, and that is between the Mina and Arafah. And you will see in the packages, some of them will transport you there by bus or by train, but you'll go from Mina all the way to Arafah first, and then you come back to Muzdalifah. So then you go to here Arafah, and in the packages they'll show you the distances between Arafah tent and Masjid Namira, which is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he would come into Arafah, he stopped there to do the khutbah, and then he continued on to Arafah. So depending how close you are, you might be able to attend to that masjid in person. If not, you'll be sitting in the tents and listening to the khutbah while you're in your tent. And the next important thing I just want to mention is the different packages will most likely refer to the distances you'll be from Jamarat. So one of the packages, the Mina Towers, this is here, Shirkat Tafweej is package 1, this is package 3, and there's a new package that came out that wasn't there last year. So now we'll look at the different Hajj packages and their details. And now to look at an example package. So this package, one of the most important things you need to look at is the departure city. The departure city is where you're going to meet the company who is going to be taking you to the Hajj. So either it's Mecca, that means you have to meet them in Mecca. So that means you would have to take all your transportations, get into Mecca, and meet up with them. If you pick Jeddah, you'll go to Jeddah and you would go from Jeddah to Mecca with them. If you pick Tabuk or Riyadh, be very careful, because depending on the mode of transportation from the departure city to Mecca can be different. For example, if you pick Riyadh or Tabuk, you need to check from and to package city. So that is how they will transport you from the departure city that you have chosen, whether it's Tabuk or Riyadh or Jeddah, to Mecca, to the Haram. Okay? So if you pick Riyadh or Tabuk and it says bus, that means they're going to take you by bus from Tabuk to the Haram. It could say flight, it could say bus. You have to be very careful on how you pick it. Some of the companies are not very picky. So, for example, let's say you picked Ta'if or you picked Medina or you picked Riyadh, and you tell them, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to go to Riyadh. I'll meet you in Mecca or I'll meet you in Jeddah. And they will accommodate for that. The next thing here is the transportation in the Mash'ar. So that's where all the events of Hajj are taking place. Mina to Arafah to Muzdalifah, Muzdalifah back to Mina. How will that be transported? In this package, it says by train. Some of them could say by bus, so keep that in mind. The next thing here is that how long is this group going to stay for Hajj? Because as we know, Hajj, you can stay up to the 12th or the 13th. You can do mutaakhir or mutaajjil. So the 13th is where they're staying. They're staying the whole 3 days of Tashriq, versus some companies, some camps will stay only till the 12th. So that means only 2 days of Tashriq. And some companies are flexible. If you pick the 13th and you want to leave early, they'll have no problem. Except you need to make sure you are doing it correctly according to the Sharia and according to the Hajj, how it should be done. The next distance that's important is the distance to Jamarat. So that's the distance from your Mina camp to Jamarat. So the reason here is the distance to Jamarat and distance from Jamarat is because when you enter Jamarat, you'll enter to Jamaat al-Sughra, the beginning end. And once you finish, you'll finish at the end by Jamaat al-Kubra, and you would go back. So here the distance from the camp to Jamaat al-Sughra is 500 meters. And then when you get to Jamaat al-Kubra, distance back to your camp is 700 meters. Very, very close. Some of them are 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers. So this is probably, in my opinion, the most important thing to look at when you're deciding your package. The next thing here is the total amount of bathrooms. That's also very important because that's going to be very critical during your Hajj time. The next distance is the distance to and from Masjid Namira. This is what we mentioned before. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going to do Hajj, he stopped by this area and he performed the khutbah of Hajj. And this here tells you the distance to that masjid now is 800 meters, and the distance back to your camp in Arafah is 800 meters. Some of them are going to be 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. Here it's not as critical as Jamarat because going to Jamarat in the days of Tashriq is mandatory, it's from the wajibat of the Hajj, while going to Masjid Namira is just a sunnah that the Prophet ﷺ did. The next important thing is the distance between the camp and the train station. That's the distance between your Mina camp going to the train station to go to Arafah. Now it's critical, but if it is 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, that distance you'll be done by walking. So that's the important aspects of the Hajj package when you're looking at it in its details. And the last thing we'll look at is the different packages. So there's package 1, 2, 3, 4, and the new fifth one, and there's also an economy one. So the first one here is the 10,000. That's majority of the people I know take this package, and this is basically you have everything you need. Uh, it's not. It's pretty very very good in my opinion. The second package it says normal camps located in Mina, and then the third one here this is in the Mina Towers. This closest to Jamarat. This is more like a hotel versus a tent. Then you have the economy package. There's the package 4 and the economy package. This is I do not recommend because you will have no housing on the days of Tarwiyah, which is the first day in Mina before Arafah and the day of Tashriq. So this is definitely not recommended for anybody. And the last package that this came out is the Kidana Valley Towers. This looks very similar to Mina Towers, very much more like a hotel versus a tent when you're in Mina. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.